quotes would only be for a phrase.
That's what I said.
You could use it, and it's not going to change anything in this database. But it's a good point, because if you were doing that in Google or some other search engines, and even some databases, it's mandatory that you put quotes around your phrases. It doesn't make a difference in these, but that's a good point. All right, now what I found is that I could try these things and see if they all work, but what I found is even when I try coming up with a couple of words, and let's just see what this does. I'm going to do it again, and I have 13 now. 13 because I said children. Now I want to make sure still that this is going to still have the limiter on it, and it doesn't for reports research. Just remember, it's usually something, a limiter is usually something you do at the end, right? So I'm going to do reports research again, and just say do the search again, and let's see what it comes down to again. Oh, it says all 13 of them, and that's great. And how do you know for sure? You see that search history, and this is what your professor wants. Click on search history, and it shows you what I have just done. The first search I did right there, and I limited to research reports, there was only one found. You see it? But because I was willing to change a little bit here, elementary school children or children, you know, I got 13, and it still had the limiter there, so it was still there. So that's pretty good. How many did you need? You needed 8. But you could look through these, and you could not like half of them. And not all of them are full text. Okay, for instance, this one here, American Journal of Sexuality Education, is not full text. That one is. Another one could not be, and you might not find it here, but that's okay, because we can still do interlibrary loan for you to find these things. But if you're doing your search and you're not finding anything at all based on the keywords that you're using, then what we recommend is step 2 on that handout, and that's going to the thesaurus. So if I click on, and this works in PsycInfo as well, same thing. So what I do is I type in whatever it is that I was looking for, like elementary school, what did I have, children? Elementary school children, and it says, well, that was a really nice phrase that you were using, Robert, but this database says that if you want that, you should use that. I wouldn't have come up with that off the top of my head. Elementary school students is the phrase that they want you to use in this database. So then I know that I could either go back to my search history and add it, or I could just go ahead and try something else. I can also click on it again, and then see the other words or phrases that might work. And in this case, you have children, which we already used because we figured that one out ourselves. But students, would you use students? Why wouldn't you want to use students?
You'll get older students.
That's right, because students, you're a student, and you don't want higher education students or secondary school students. You want that same. So then you see this is used for elementary school students, so children. So what I would do is I would just go back to your search statement, which you can always go back to your search history if you want. And where you have this right here, you can go ahead and revise it. Click on revise and say group counseling, and you see how they put the parentheses around it? That's what I meant by the grouping. Elementary school children or children, what was the other word or phrase they said was good?
Elementary school students.
That's right. Or elementary, gotta spell it right, elementary school students is what they said. And then you can do the exact same thing with with group counseling as well. I could go back to the thesaurus, and I'm going to do the search again, just make sure it's still publication type, reports research, yep, it's limited. So I just want to know, can I get any more than 13? And I got 2 more. And those might be the only thing you need to do. Does that make sense? So you are expanding your topic a little bit only by being more, what do you want to say, flexible on the keyword phrases and terms that you're using. So what would be another thing for group counseling? Can you think of another word that would work for group counseling? Because I could do the exact same thing again. I could go back to my advanced search, and I could go ahead or keep it there, and I could do it but I would have to put parentheses around it if I'm going to do it that way. We could say group counseling, or what's another thing that you can think of? That would mean the same thing as group counseling. See, again, I can't come up with off the top of my head, so what would I do?
Thesaurus.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. In fact, it seems to always help me, so I go back to it and I just do the same thing. It's really a quick thing. You're only trying to take a couple of the keywords or phrases you're using, and group counseling happens to come up. I click on it, and it says, here are some other terms that might work. Group guidance, okay? And you can click on it, and it'll give you a definition, and it'll work for you. And group therapy. might work as well. Does this make sense? And so if you like those, you could always click on them, group therapy, group guidance, all that kind of stuff, and you can say add, and then what it's going to do is it's going to do a search all on this topic right here, but I could also add those other ones. Actually, I'm going to do the search by itself, just to show you what it would look like. So this right here said that there are 4,025 that are about this. That's the descriptor means, described as being about this, or about this, or this. Now, what I need to do is change this out a little bit, but now this is only one item. I have a second one and a third one, right? Group counseling is one thing. That's one of my items. And so I could then just do the search on each of them separately and looking in the thesaurus, and it usually does a pretty good job. And I'm going to do elementary school children. Students is the one that they had. It'll tell me that. So we're good. Whoops, I've got to go start. Elementary school students, and it tells you, did I spell something wrong again? Elementary school students. There we go. It says that's a good one. I could check this box. I could check this box. I could even look up children and see if it gives me any other words or phrases that might be used as well. Although, I don't like them. I would keep that one. So, but it does have age groups, so you could look up age groups and see if they have anything, like children's already here, but early adolescence could also work for you. And you could look it up and it'll give you the date range. But youth, when you look it up, will tell you that it's older. Adolescents will tell you that it's actually teenagers, the young ones. So, and then you see age and all that, and you could look these up. So again, I could click on early adolescence and it tells me early adolescence is 11 to 15 years age. That's not good, right? For children, that would be too old. I thought early adolescence would be like a little bit younger. So that's how you could use the thesaurus if you're interested. Choose all the ones you want, put it in add, and then do a search, and it would separate all three of the items, and you can add them together if you want. So for instance, I can add this one to this one, and then I would do my third search as well. What's my third area? My third little topic? I have anxiety or depression. And if you were in, so I'm going to clear this, if I went to the thesaurus again, it sounds pretty good, anxiety or depression, but depending on which database you're in will depend what you're going to use. Here, depression psychology is the one you want to use here. If you go to PsycInfo, it says depression emotional, I think. And so it uses something different, but you don't want to use depression economic or anything like that. So you want to get rid of all those. So I'm going to choose depression psychology, and when I click on the words, I'm looking to see if there's anything else that might work that would mean the same thing to me as depression or anxiety. Do you see anything? The thesaurus is trying to give you ideas. What do you think of fear? Is fear and anxiety about the same thing? What about, well, you see anxiety, right? Anxiety is listed there, so I'll go ahead and choose it. In fact, you can click on anxiety, and you'll see what it says as well. And you see fear is listed under there again, and fear actually worked really well when we did it. So fear, anxiety, depression. Anything else look good?
What about anxiety disorders?
Well, ask yourself if that works for you, and it could. There's nothing wrong with that if you're okay with when you said does group counseling. Think of your statement again. What impact does group counseling